The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
So there's this debate in the animal world, which producer Pat has actually been pulled into before, about cats and birds, which is about, on the one hand, people who are cat lovers and they want to help feral cats survive outdoors, want to let their cats be outdoor cats. There's that side. And then you've got the bird lovers who say, all of these cats outdoors are killing tons of birds and the bird populations are suffering. Now, you, Pat, have taken a position on the pro-cat side, I believe, although you've taken quite a bit of heat for it from people in the audience.
I didn't even know that this was a problem until a viewer told me about it, unfortunately, and I haven't really overcome the controversy since then. I did admit that I let my cat go outdoors. I didn't think it was a big problem. Sure, the cat every now and then kills a rodent or kills a bird, but I didn't think much of it. Apparently, 4 billion birds are killed by outdoor and feral cats each year, and that is a big number.
That can't possibly be the number.
That's the number that the pro-bird people are floating, 4 billion per year.
So this is part of the problem, which is that there is now a group coming together that is bringing together the diametrically opposed factions of cat lovers and bird lovers. And first thing they want to do is figure out what is the actual impact on the bird population of cats, because they're saying that there genuinely isn't that there isn't that much information about what the actual number is. And the idea is to try to figure out some way to broach to blend broach the difficult subject of blending the interests of the cat lover community and the bird lover community. Now, for me, I don't care about cats at all. I don't really like cats, so I find myself kind of not. Listen, it's not like I'm going out there saying I love birds. They are pretty annoying if you're trying to sit outside at a cafe. That I've experienced myself. So I have like no dog in this fight or horse in this race. I don't know about dog in this fight because I hate dog fighting. That's probably the wrong analogy to use here. But I think we, on the side of science, we can all agree, if we're going to make any plan about what to do about the cat-bird issue, we need to know the real numbers. And the 4 billion number seems outrageously exaggerated.
It's really hard to find, especially because it's not always easy to track outdoor and feral cats, because even if you like install a camera on them, well, those cats are going to go not only in public, on public property and in public sites, they're also going to go into like private property, and you can't necessarily film that. So it's definitely a hard thing to keep track of. For now, at least, I'm going with the ignorance is bliss theory. Otherwise, I would have to feel incredibly guilty about all those birds that were killed.
Yes, and I think that Pat could be personally connected to the deaths of, if you believe the 4 billion a year number, Pat's good for about 5,000 birds killed as a result of his cat actions.
Would you like to hear a quick anecdote that I have related to this?
Sure.
Okay. So my cat, Miss Muffet, one night I let her in for the night. She was hanging out outdoors. I opened the door like normal. She purrs. She comes inside. And instead of going to where she eats and drinks, she decided to dart right up the stairs to my bedroom. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Anyway, I get ready for bed, and I get myself situated. I got myself, tucked under the covers, ready to go to sleep. And I noticed that Miss Muffet is not in the bed with me like she normally is. She's on the side of the bed, preoccupied with something. I'm like, what is that? What's going on? Why is she on the side of the bed and not hanging out with me? So I turn the light on, and I look down at her, and she's chomping on a bird that she brought up to my bedroom. And I'm like, Miss Muffet, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, case in point, there's one of the 5,000 birds that Pat's cat has probably killed, and that's one that she actually brought in. I recently read a very interesting article which argues that while, yes, self-driving cars are going to destroy a lot of jobs, that they're also going to create jobs, like, for example, a lot of technology jobs for people that will be involved in working on the routing of the vehicles, fielding support calls from the vehicles, and so much other stuff. So the point of that article was that it's not going to be as bad for jobs as some are saying, to transition to driverless commercial vehicles. This could include taxis, this could include tractor trailers, so on and so forth. There's another argument, which is that there is going to be an upswing in sex work as a result of people selling sex in driverless cars. And there are tourism professors that have been researching this, and they are making the case that you are going to see the sort of natural development of a sex market in driverless vehicles, because it's just kind of a natural way to take advantage of a moving environment in which, even in places where it is illegal to sell sex, you might be able to get away with it. Of course, the counter to this is that a lot of these driverless vehicles are going to have cameras in them, and I don't know exactly how it is that they're going to deal with that. But this is something that is predicted, where you're not going to sell sex in a taxi with a real driver, because that would just be awkward, and the driver might report it. But that the driverless vehicle, Pat, might present an opportunity for sex to be transacted in within the confines of that driverless vehicle trip or journey.
Yeah, I think it's most certainly going to happen, and it's probably a cheaper alternative than, say, renting out a hotel room. You just call a driverless Uber, and you're able to get your thrills for a little bit of time. And it, maybe they could figure out the privacy issue. I don't know if they'll be allowed to cover the camera, or what happens when you cover the camera. Like, maybe the car shuts down altogether because they don't want people doing that. Tinted windows. Most of those cars have tinted windows, at least at the back seats. I don't know. But this is going to be a whole new world, and there will certainly be some clever jokes associated with that, like a ride and ride, for example.
Yes, of course. And that's very, very clever. And I don't know. So certainly police vehicles are going to have some way of pulling over driverless cars. And I'm guessing that this is well advanced in terms of its development with the technology that will be governing the motion of these driverless vehicles. I don't know if they would recognize, maybe initially they would recognize lights and sirens and would pull over, and eventually there might be some way for the police vehicles to actually communicate directly with driverless vehicles and sort of command them to pull over. I'm sure that is going to be dealt with.
If you get pulled over in a driverless car, you're absolutely doing something wrong, because those cars are programmed to just go the speed limit at the very most and to obey all the traffic laws. Like, that you're in dire straits if that happens to you.
Yeah, I think that would be. But listen, this is where things are going, and we'll see how that issue ultimately is dealt with. I have to tell you, it's very low on my list of concerns about driverless vehicles. There are probably like 3 to 5 way more pressing issues that I think are higher priorities to be dealt with when it comes to driverless vehicles. But at some point, this is something that will have to be dealt with. There's a picture that's been floating around of 60 male high school students, I believe all white from the picture I saw, doing what appears to be the Nazi salute. This is a picture taken last spring in Wisconsin before the Baraboo High School junior prom. And in the picture, you see what looks like, I don't know if you saw the picture, Pat, but it looks to me like all but one student are doing the Nazi salute in the picture.
Yeah, there maybe like a few with their hands at their sides, maybe not recognizing what's going on or not wanting to go along with it. But yeah, the vast majority are putting up the Nazi salute.
So the image went viral over the weekend, and now there's an investigation being done. A letter has been sent home to parents. The school district superintendent says that the image troubled them significantly, and that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and that if indeed the gesture appears to be, or if the gesture is what it appears to be, the Nazi salute, that there are going to be appropriate actions pursued, including legal ones. Can you imagine, Pat, if the school department decided the 59 of 60 kids, or whatever the number is, that all of them that did the Nazi salute are getting expelled? I mean, the expulsion of 60 students, as far as I know, is effectively unheard of.
Oh, man, I don't think they would be able to do that. Just maybe a long-term suspension, but getting rid of 60 students, and I don't know how big the school is, but that could be, like 25% of the grade. I don't think they're gonna expel all those students.
And one correction, apparently there is one black student in the group, but you can't really see him in the picture because he's kind of obscured by others. And one person who shared the picture on social media actually said, we even got the black kid to throw it up, which to me confirms that this is a gesture which non-white people would be less likely to do, I guess is the argument. More difficult to tell is whether there's any Jewish kids who are in the picture doing the Nazi salute. But this is just disgusting. And, you know, I was thinking back to my days in middle school and high school, Pat. I had a lot of really bad ideas, really stupid things, throwing snowballs at cars. And former producer Lewis once had the idea when the snow melted to just throw handfuls of pebbles at cars, like really stupid stuff that nobody should be doing. But I can't imagine it ever even remotely being seen as acceptable to take a picture like this with a group of people doing the Nazi salute. It would never even seem as entertaining, clever, or fun even.
Yeah, it's one thing to do it. It's another thing to do it for a photo. It's another thing to do it for a prom photo. But I do have to ask, I mean, do you think these students are actually racist or anti-Semitic, or do you think that they just perceive this as funny and that this is just some practical joke that they're playing and they don't actually hold these deep-seated hateful beliefs?
I don't know the answer. I don't know the students. And I mean, I'm guessing that the black student is not someone who supports the ideas of white purity and Hitler's ideas. I would guess. As far as the other students, I don't really know. But I don't think it even really matters. It's sort of like, does it matter if Trump's personally anti-Semitic? Not really. This is just completely inappropriate and disgusting either way. Although I do think that how you deal with it would be different if you're dealing with out and out neo-Nazis versus if you're dealing with people who merely think this is funny and are sort of insensitive to the realities. You probably deal with them differently.
Yeah, I think the right result here, and I don't know if it should depend on what student, right? I don't know if it should vary student to student, but maybe like a 2-week suspension, some sort of way to get them reintegrated back into the school system and to teach them that this stuff is not okay. I mean, that's where I come down on this. I don't think expulsion should be on the table.
I tend to agree. But how do you even, I mean, like, how do you even investigate the intent? Do you just start interviewing students and saying, what did you mean? What did you think that you were doing? Like, I just don't know how you investigate it.
I think it's one of those things, too, where after the first person does it, everyone else is just following along. And those people individually wouldn't come up with the idea and think that was a good idea, but it's groupthink. Once one person does it, everyone else follows the herd.
There's a lot of that. Okay, next week, it's Thanksgiving week, right? I think next week is Thanksgiving week. Yeah, it is. And we will be having a different show schedule. So what we're going to do is we'll have a normal Monday show. We will have a normal Tuesday show. We will have a Wednesday show that is the format of the Friday show. And then we will be off Thursday, Friday for the holiday. And I will be, I don't know, I'm just doing my normal Thanksgiving thing, which is not really that much. I'm going to my girlfriend's family's house because my family, not being American, never really did anything for Thanksgiving. There's going to be the totally normal food. I think the only real question this year, Pat, as every year, is people want to know, what will be your vegan entree that will be part of your Thanksgiving meal?
That was actually an audience question last year, if I do recall correctly. I'll probably go with the vegan shepherd's pie. I'll have to bring some leftovers in, and we can maybe sample it on the bonus show if you'd like. It consists of potatoes and lentils and a lot of other great greens and vegetables in there. And another great thing I think we could do is go back and forth, give about 10 or 20 things that we're grateful for on next week's bonus show. What do you say about that?
Oh, yeah. That always makes for really entertaining podcasts, just lists of items. People love that. So, yeah, we'll talk about that off the air and make sure. We should each name 50 things we're grateful for. Why not, right? So anyway, that's the plan for next week. And then we'll be back with the totally normal schedule the week after that.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.